calls to exempt more food items from VAT in South Africa, but will it happen? Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to News in 5. I'm your host, Joe Emilio. Thanks for tuning in. That's right, there's calls to exempt more food items from VAT in South Africa.
It's too good to be true!
And here's what the finance minister had to say. Considering the rising cost of living in South Africa throughout 2023, some political parties have called to expand the zero VAT rated basket of food items in the country, but Minister of Finance said this would do little to help those who need it. Currently, there are several food items that are zero VAT rated, including brown bread, maize meal, rice, vegetables, milk, vegetable oil, eggs, and more. I'd really like to know what falls under the more. Overall, goods have a progressive impact and a strong equity gain ratio. Poor people consume a relatively high share of zero-rated items. However, the analysis of the independent panel in 2018 indicated that extending zero rating for further food items would be inefficient, since high-income households tend to benefit more from such measures. Now, he's not wrong. According to the latest Household Affordability Index by the Peter Marisburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group, sometimes I really wonder where they come up with these names, shows that food prices in September 2023 are about 7.3% more costly than in 2022. Additionally, the data showed that zero-rating products are still seeing notable increases despite being exempt from value-added tax. And we'll get to my theory on why in a moment. At current costs, PMB-EJD further showed that for a family of 4 living in or living on the national minimum wage, which is 4,000 or just over 4,000 Rand per month, the minimum shortfall on food for a family is 51.6% in September 2023, meaning after transport and electricity costs, only 1.7 or just over 1,700 Rand would be left for food. This shows that poor households would benefit very little from an extension of the zero VAT rated food basket, as they can't even afford the basic increases in prices, which means, as stated by the finance minister, only the affluent households would stand to benefit meaningfully. And at face value, that would be true, but let's try and look at this a little bit more in detail now. For the foods that keep on increasing even though they don't have VAT, why would they increase? Well, here's my theory. Petrol. Now, I know some of you might be like, oh, petrol? How does petrol come into this equation? Well, it's just my theory. But when petrol goes up, everything goes up. Why? Well, because these goods have to be transported somehow. But you might say, but Joe, don't we use trains in South Africa for transporting goods? And I would say, have you seen Transnet lately? Trains are basically non-existent. So of course, more trucks and lorries and what have you to be on the roads transporting goods. That means petrol is used to get these trucks from one end to the other. As petrol goes up, so does the price of food. But that's not the only reason, because we also have problems with transportation in terms of security. When you live in a very volatile country like South Africa, any day there could be a riot or a looting of some sort. So these transportation companies have to hire security to protect the goods. This also increases the price of food, because someone has to cover the expenses of the driver and the security guard. And again, the petrol. So even though something like rice doesn't have VAT on it, it's still very expensive to transport it from the rice farm to the supermarket. So here's where I had a little bit of a thought. Why not just cut out the tax in petrol?
That's a great idea.
Now, I know you're laughing, saying, Joe, they're not going to do that. ANC would never do that. And I agree with you. They probably never would. But logically, they should. And then poor households wouldn't have to put so much aside for transportation. And don't even get me started on the electricity bills, because the price of electricity can definitely be reduced. After all, they're not really giving us power for the most part. So just imagine for 1 second, if the tax on petrol and electricity could be reduced, the poorer households would benefit greatly from that. Actually, everybody would benefit greatly from that. And then maybe adding more tax-free food would be beneficial for everyone. Or hell, maybe just reduce the tax in general. But of course, the power-hungry / greedy political party that currently runs this country would never ever cut off the gravy train, even though trains in this country don't really work. So there's a bit of irony there. Anyways, like I said, it's just a theory. I'm just a comedian on YouTube. What do I know? But it kind of makes sense to me, right? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm crazy? Whatever. Just let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to also check out my stand-up comedy special directed by Barry Hilton. It's called Crossing the Borders. A link is in the description to the first run of that show. You can watch it on this channel for free. And speaking of content, if you enjoyed this content, you might enjoy these videos. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to also like this video, share it far and wide, and subscribe to the channel. I've got more content coming your way. And with that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.